Ashai, and I'm with we have a keynote speaker, that's Dom. Dom is also with the Nuclear Security Department of Wem'Afrika. And then we have our speaker, let me welcome our participants for our webinar today. You are welcome to our webinar, and we
yeah, we keep losing you, Isako. I'm not sure where you ended. Isako, did you finish? What are you?
Yes, Dom. So please, you can introduce the speaker.
Yeah, I'm not hearing Isako. I'm going to assume this is the time for me to jump in. As the keynote speaker, if that's okay. I'm not sure where Isako ended. But also just to say, meeting is recorded, so we can share with people who were not able to call to make it to the webinar. Right. No, thank you. My name is Dominic. Dominic Moatludi Raboroche, part of the Wem'Afrika Security Department. And in this talk, we are looking to understand nuclear security and kind of also understand the pathways for engagement and action. So the distinguished guests, our respected speaker, Ms. Viviana, colleagues, and partners, and all the participants. Thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending where you are from, where you are at this point in time. Like I said, my name is Dominic Moatludi. I'm from Botswana. That's my home country. But also I'm currently based in the UK. And working with Wem'Afrika in this security department, as mentioned. So it is a privilege to welcome you to this important webinar on understanding nuclear security. Nuclear security is often perceived as a distant or highly technical field, usually reserved for only scientists, policymakers, or international institutions. However, the reality is that nuclear security concerns all of us. It is about protecting people, communities, and nations from the misuse of nuclear and radioactive materials. It is important. It is about responsibility, about governance, about preparedness, and ethical leadership. In a world facing evolving security threats, rapid technological advancements, and increasing global interdependence, nuclear security requires a multi-layered approach. It demands updated regulatory frameworks, strong institutions, and strong institutional capacities. It also demands international cooperation and informed, which is most important, and informed and engaged individuals. So today's conversation, which Ms. Speaker will help us kind of elaborate and expand on and guide us on this one, is not just about awareness. I think it's more on the action, on what do we need to do. At Wem'Afrika, we believe that education is the foundation of sustainable development. And our security department was established to create a platform that promotes knowledge sharing, promotes policy dialogue, and most one of the most important thing, it promotes this youth engagement in critical areas such as nuclear security, governance, and peace building. And we do have a track record at Wem'Afrika. Um, we have hosted professional webinars which focus on insider threats, nuclear governance, and radiological security. We've engaged young professionals and students across Africa in discussions of nuclear safety, security, and safeguards. We've also promoted a dialogue connecting leadership, governance, and technical security fields. At Wem'Afrika, we've also tried to expand our reach through both virtual and community-based initiatives. So at Wem'Afrika, we have a clear commitment on where we want to go or how we want to get there. We want to strengthen capacity. We want to promote responsible use of nuclear technologies and encourage youth participation in nuclear security conversations across Africa and beyond. Africa is a growing market. So we also recognize that Africa's engagements is growing in this nuclear space, nuclear energy, and we believe that technology must be matched with strong security culture, transparency, and accountability. This is not only a technical necessity, but a governance imperative. Africa is a great market, and these topics can be more in conversations. So this webinar represents another step in that journey. We're not only here to understand nuclear security frameworks, but to ask deeper questions. How can youth and emerging young professionals or professionals engage in meaningful nuclear security questions or topics? What role does governance play in strengthening national security or national nuclear systems? How do we build a culture of security that goes beyond compliance to responsibility? Nuclear security is not only about preventing threats. It is about building resilience in our systems, having an informed communities, and ethical leadership. So today, ladies and gentlemen, as we listen to our speaker, I encourage the thinking about your own pathway for engagement, whether student, researcher, policymaker, or professional. There is always space for contribution. Just to reiterate that at Wem'Afrika, we remain committed to creating educational platforms for nuclear education or literacy. We support research and dialogue on nuclear governance and building youth capacity in safety, security, and safeguards. We also promote responsible and peaceful applications of nuclear technology. So together, we can strengthen awareness, we can strengthen systems, and we can strengthen security culture. So thank you for listening to my little introduction. So I hope that we engage, I hope that we learn and take action from here. Thank you very much. Um,
Hello, Dom.
yes, it's okay.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the introduction. You are right, Africa's engagement in the nuclear space is expanding. Before our speaker comes in, I want to just add a little introduction to what you said about her. Yeah, so our speaker, that's Ms. Viviana Espinosa Moreno, is a senior project manager at World Institute of Nuclear Security, and she's leading initiatives on nuclear security competence and capacity building across different regions of the world, with a strong focus on Latin America. And her portfolio has also includes projects centered on emerging and advanced technologies such as AI. Ms. Viviana is committed to engaging the next generation of nuclear security professionals, and she's also ensuring a future-ready workforce. Her approach emphasizes forward-thinking strategies that enhance capacity. Her expertise lies in designing programs that align nuclear security outcomes with the Sustainable Development Goals, reinforcing the broader impact of security globally. Ms. Viviana holds a bachelor's degree in social and cultural and a master's degree in international development. She's very fluent in Spanish, English, and German. I hope that one of these is German language. So, in addition, Ms. Viviana serves as the leader of uh, this women in nuclear security within the WIN Global Groups of Expertise. Ms. Viviana, you are most welcome to our webinar. Thank you very much for having time to spend with us. Thank you so much. So please, you have the platform now. Ms. Viviana, you have the platform now. You can please go ahead and share your screen and talk to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ezequiel. Thank you so much, Dominique, for this introduction. As you said, Dominique, it's this type of initiatives you are working on with the Wem'Afrika are very, very important, especially for our regions, since we face different needs that from the global north. So I do believe that nuclear security in our regions is unfortunately not a priority number one because of most other reasons, social development, economical development. So sometimes it doesn't come first in the agenda. But civil society, as you are initiating this type of work with Wem'Afrika, are keen for engaging the community, for engaging decision makers in looking at nuclear security as an enabler for development. Thank you so much again for the invitation. It's an honor for me to be here in representation of WINS and in representation of Women in Nuclear Global among the groups of expertise. I'm going to proceed now and share my screen. Okay. I hope you can see my screen by now. Let's see.
Yes, I can confirm on my side. I can see
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now it seems it's working. Excellent. So I want to just begin my presentation, of course, thinking for, giving me this space to talk to you today and to bring together an audience, especially of young professionals and different stakeholders who are interested in nuclear security, especially what will be the impact in Africa. Today, I would like to talk to you about three areas. First, what's nuclear security? What actually means when we talk about nuclear security. Secondly, why human capital and professional development is critical for countries like ours expanding nuclear technology. And third, why young professionals and women especially must be at the center of this future development. Since and you mentioned it, Dominic, nuclear security is not just about technology or processes, it's about people and governance and trust. I don't know. Did my slide change, right? I cannot see very well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Perfect. Let me talk to you about WINS a little bit. We are the World Institute for Nuclear Security, or WINS. We are based in Vienna. It's an international organization that is basically dedicated to professionalism in nuclear security, capacity, and competence building. Its core mandate is to improve competence among individuals who are responsible of protecting nuclear and radioactive materials against malicious acts. We operate globally with more than 10,000 members across 165 countries. Among these members, we have different stakeholders from regulators, operators, academia, research institutions, and governments. We have among our work different areas. We have a certification program in nuclear security that have different modules or certifications. And those are from fundamentals to cybersecurity, transport security, and regulation. We offer also benchmarkings and self-assessment tools for the organizations that want to assess their performance in nuclear security. We also have a knowledge center which is packed with all of the best practice guides from different topics. These best practice guides have been produced and consulted with some of our members who are nuclear security professionals. And we also offer a professional networking platforms like workshops, like webinars, where we are constantly having engagement with our members and with the nuclear security community in different topics like AI, supply chain, insider threat mitigation, truthworthiness, etc. So for us, nuclear security must be treated as a special profession, requiring structuring training, ethical standards, and continuous development. As I mentioned to you, we have a knowledge center where we have 20 plus best practice guides in different topics, so you can access that in our website. And we also have the different other publications like special reports, etc. And of course, when you go to the website, you will find all of the international events that WINS is scheduled for this year. Now, let's jump in what is nuclear security. And as Dominic mentioned here, we are talking about the prevention, the detection, and the response to criminal or intentional unauthorized acts involving nuclear and other radioactive material. So that's important. We are talking about also rad sources, but we are also talking about facilities and associated activities, like, for example, transport. Nuclear security addresses risks as of theft of nuclear or radioactive materials, also sabotage of facilities. Sometimes the intention is not to steal something, but to sabotage for ideological purposes, for example. Also, we look at insider misuse, so insider threat. We also look at cyber attacks targeting digital system, which may be the objective of sabotage or theft or any other malicious intention. Also, it's very important to remember that nuclear security applies not only to nuclear power plants, but also medical isotopes, industrial radiography sources, also research reactors, the transport of radioactive materials, and this broader scope is particularly relevant for many of our states, for example, in Latin America and in Africa, that maybe not yet operate power plants but use rad sources extensively. So as I mentioned to you, what are we trying to prevent in nuclear security? We are trying to prevent the theft or use of an explosive device. So the unauthorized removal, theft of nuclear material for the purpose or use it as explosive device, what we call in normal language a dirty bomb. Also, we are preventing the theft for dispersal, so we are preventing the unauthorized removal of nuclear material for the purpose of dispersal. What else are we trying to prevent? We are trying to prevent sabotage, as I mentioned before to you, the sabotage of nuclear facilities and the sabotage of nuclear material during the transport, each of which can cause significant radiological consequences. And in nuclear security is very important the definition of a threat. And this is like the basis or the basic elements we need to understand when we talk about nuclear security is the threat. We need to know what is our threat. So the threat is an actor with motivation, intention, and capability. So this is very important because these frameworks allow the states to move beyond the abstract risk discussions toward the structure of the self-assessment and design the basis threat. This is developed at the national level, and it must be defined the credible threat and the level that the security system will be need to design on the basis of this threat. So the design basic traits basically inform our physical protection measures, our access controls, our detection systems, our response protocols, and these threats can originate from different sources like external actors like organized criminal groups, an insider, as I mentioned before, cyber actors, or the collusion between these two. So, for example, unorganized criminal groups that also use cyber attacks to access a critical area or material. The DVT is essential within the security framework of the states and is developed by the states. Now, before we move on, I have came across that there is a lot of confusion when we talk about nuclear safety, nuclear security, and safeguards when we are new to this word, let's say. So it's very important to distinguish between these three but interconnected pillars. Of course, they are not distant from each other, but they are different in their focus areas. For example, nuclear security focus on preventing accidents and protecting people and the environment from an unintended radiation exposure. And you will see that since I mentioned this to you already, nuclear security focus on preventing these malicious acts involving any radioactive materials. Of course, a nuclear security incident can cause a nuclear safety incident. So any malicious acts or theft or removal of nuclear material or a rad source can, of course, create an incident of radiation dispersion or exposure. And safeguards is also another concept we hear very often. And safeguards focus on verifying that nuclear materials are not diverted to use it for weapon purposes. So ensuring compliance with the non-proliferation commitment of the states. These domains intersect, of course, in their objectives and mechanisms and legal and mechanisms, but of course differ also in their legal frameworks. And today's discussions, of course, focus mostly on nuclear security. What's the scope of nuclear security? As I mentioned to you, it includes security of nuclear material, but also of nuclear facilities. So we are also protecting the facility. It involves also the security of rad sources. For example, the rad sources that we use for radiotherapy, for blood irradiation, for example. We also look at nuclear security from the point of the security to the transport of nuclear material or radioactive sources. Nuclear security also covers cybersecurity and information protection, so IT and OT. Nuclear security also covers personnel reliability and insider threat mitigation. Also involves SMORC. I think I don't know if you have heard that the detection and response to material outside of regulatory control. So those who are not in control of the state that are not particularly listed. So those also involve. Also, for states, for example, considering SMRs, cybersecurity inside the threat mitigation and supply chain become very, very, very central within this scope. As you see here, nuclear security is a very, very, very broad subject and also very interdisciplinary subject. So in each one of these areas, if we talk about cybersecurity, for example, or if we talk about personal reliability, we see that there is need for a workforce that is also diverse from different academic backgrounds. So we need cybersecurity professionals, we need IT professionals, we need also psychologists, also we need sociologists, etc. Since nuclear security is just not about technology, it's not about guns and guards. It is about that, but it's also about the human factor and how we understand motivations, etc. A little bit about the international nuclear security regime. This is embedded within an international normative framework, and this framework includes legally binding instruments such as conventions and UN Safety Council resolutions. Also, one of the conventions is the CPNNM, the Physical Protection Convention, and this layered structures allows the states the flexibility in implementing while promoting global consistency. So it's very important for example, for emerging nuclear states, this alignment with international norms, just for having, for example, public acceptance, also for financing and investment, also to the access of international cooperation and regulatory credibility. As I mentioned to you, one of the most significant challenges in nuclear security is today human capital development. We have to compete with other industries that are maybe more attractive for the young generation. And the key here is that security effectiveness is determined less by technology, as I mentioned, but more by competence, leadership, organization and culture, and accountability mechanisms. So if our nuclear infrastructure expands without the parallel development of independent regulators, security managers, specialists, etc., then we are not keeping pace with the vulnerabilities. Since we do believe, and it's let's say a motto in nuclear security, that the our systems became more and more vulnerable since now the attackers are more sophisticated. So we need also to keep pace with these developments, and then we need a human capital that evolves proportionally with the technological expansion. And the truth is that nowadays we faces a lot of challenges. As I mentioned to you, we don't have the sufficient personnel to keep pace with this evolving threat. And as I said before, diverse adversaries must be met with diverse defenders. So an homogeneous workforce creates these blind spots, and that adversaries can exploit. Also, we are limiting the participation from people from diverse backgrounds, and this creates, of course, ongoing vulnerabilities in our security systems. And more research shows this negative impact on bias based on gender and minority status to access to professional development opportunities. We also see that now we have a very rapid development in technology. SMRs, AI, etc., require a specialized expertise, and then we are not keeping pace with it. And of course, one of our more important pillars is that we need to build public trust. So it's very important that also nuclear security gives the possibility to the public to believe that everything is set in a way that is secure, and that the people involved in nuclear security, they are trained and professionalized and can keep the pace with these ongoing vulnerabilities. From an institutional perspective, gender and inclusion is directly linked to this systemic resilience. So we have in WINS, we have done a lot of research to see what is the involvement of women in nuclear security, and it's around 20%, and even less in other areas like transport security and cybersecurity. So we have created a program that try to overcome these barriers and engage women more meaningful into nuclear security. So we wanted to understand what were the participation barriers. So we have conducted research to identify and analyze what are these challenges that inhibit the participation of women and people from diverse backgrounds in nuclear security roles. And we saw that one of these barriers is that there is a traditional perspective of what a security professional looks like, that it's a person from a certain age, a certain gender, from a certain country. So we start to work a lot of images, inclusive images in storytelling about women already making a difference in the field, and deconstruct these traditional perspectives. We also develop approaches to more inclusive and diverse, effective nuclear security by offering to the sector and to the organization different tools that they can use to improve their organizational culture. And we have developed evidence-based strategies. Just, building a business case to show organizations how, by improving their diversity and inclusion program, then they will have better security outcomes. We work very much with women as a key regional partners. As I mentioned before, we work a lot in the regions, and we try to reach out at least 40% of participation of women in all programs. And most important, we try to highlight female subject matter experts, since for role modeling, that is key to engage the young generation of nuclear security professionals. We also supported a lot trainers, women, female trainers through the Train the Trainer program. And we have a strong collaboration with WinArcal, Win Southeast Asia, and Win Global, and other chapters in different regions. And we have seen that now more women are standing up and leading technical domains like cybersecurity. And this is very important because in the past, what I have experienced is that there were a lot of discussions about, let's say, side discussions about gender, but there were not engagement in technical domains. So what we try to do with the program is that the women are talking about a technical domain, and this is the way we achieve that women are seen as technical and professionals. So, and some of these efforts are also now jointly it's a jointly objective with Women in Nuclear Global through its group of expertise. So now WINS is leading WIN Security. WIN Security is a professional network for women in nuclear security. So any women here that identify or its role, it's related with nuclear security, or want to pursue a career in nuclear security, they are very invited to join this network. This network seeks to amplify the voices and expertise and leadership of women around the world. Expand of course, the regional engagement and collaboration. Sometimes the experts are there, but we don't know that they exist, or the organizations don't know that there are experts in the regions, in the different countries, that can contribute meaningful to the field. So, of course, we are more than happy to stay connected, and the networks I have seen it are very powerful in terms of connecting, empowering, etc. Apart from our gender program, we have a young professional program, and we have put this program together to analyze also what are the challenges hindering the participation of young professionals in the careers. We have seen that one of the big problems is the lack of visibility of nuclear security as a career, as a proper career. Normally, nuclear security is a second career choice, and it's not very visible in curricula. Also, there is a lack of curricula in nuclear security. So we are developing a program at the moment that helps young professionals to find this career path, and also share resources and develop strategies to leverage all of these young professional potential. Just to summarize, for WINS and for women in nuclear security, is key that all of these capacity and competency building initiatives are designed in an inclusive way. So some of the, let's say, key lessons learned that we have come across more effective in our work, I have summarized it here. So for WINS has been very effective to set a minimum female representation, especially as female subject matter experts Also including um, or leveraging professional networks like nuclear women in nuclear security, also offering multilingual access. The materials in different languages has been very effective to engage a diverse and regional audience. Also doing regional outreach. So, for example, Wem'Afrika is a great example of this, getting connected with this type of networks and initiatives. Build a really trust, and it gives context to the initiatives. Also, we offer from time to time support and scholarships to promote participation from different regions and demographics in different nuclear security events, especially to women. And something that I believe is very important is in all of these training and capacity building initiatives, there should be regional contextualization, since, as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, we face different needs and different challenges in the different regions and in the different countries. So it's very important that the training content address these specific needs and cultural context. So we also have inclusive facilitation to create a welcoming environment where we encourage the participation of all individuals. So if you want to stay connected with me or with us in WINS, you can find here some of our social media or our website, where you can find all of the different events or publications that we have in the topic. And if you are interested to learn more, please don't hesitate to contact us. I thank you to you for your time and listening, and I look forward for our discussion.
All right, Miss, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your presentations, the explanations. Thank you so much. So at this time, we want to ask for questions. If you have any question, you can ask, or you can share your questions at the chat sheet. If you have any questions from our participants.
Thank you, Viviana, for the presentation. It was really brilliant. My immediate question would be, how do you deal with state sovereignty in terms of trying to engage different states, different regulations, different rules? You're based in Vienna, and how do you reach out to like 54 states in Africa, a lot more in South America, Asia, and etc.?
It's not a difficult, it's a difficult task. But I mean, from the point of view of WINS, we try to work a lot with our members. We also have a network of ambassadors in different countries that also inform us about the needs, about, in different countries there are different ways of working, different regulations, etc. So every time we want to implement a project, we do consulting prior to everything. I'm from Latin America. I am more familiar with the way of working there, and also the regulations there in some of the countries and so on. But this is what we do. We engage our networks. We engage our ambassadors. We engage also our members. We try to work also implement the project with experts from the region. And this has really proved to be very, very successful. Other thing that WINS has that is, I think is really good is we are able to implement things a little bit in a faster pace since we are a small organization. So we are able to see impact of the projects we implement. And this is also very welcome by our partners in the different regions.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Wales will be making a great impact going forward. My last question would be in terms of nuclear security. Um, um, Again, looking at the different states and all of that, what are the major challenges that you face working with different cultures and etc.
One of the I forgot to mention in the first question is like one of the main challenges is harmonization, especially when you work regionally. You have different frameworks and there are different states in different stages of development into their nuclear technology, and also with the regulations. And one of the challenges that I see more difficult from our work is also getting partners to not getting partners, but probably is the in some countries there is not a central regulatory authority, but sometimes the authority is divided. So in some countries in Latin America, I have faced a challenge that it's difficult to find a point of contact where you can implement a project in the long term because sometimes the authority lays here or here. And another thing is that, of course, governments change and political situation change in countries a lot. And you are not to implement project or see impact in the longer term. It is difficult to keep working with the same people you start working in a project. So sometimes the communication stops, or sometimes the also political priorities of the countries change, and then there is a different agenda. So I think this is one of the challenges from our point of view when we want to work with the countries and implement. And yeah, of course, harmonization also.
Thank you. I know I said last question, but another question just popped in my head. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think is the future of nuclear security? Especially looking at AI, or looking at policies and all.
It's
Especially supporting
promising.
women, STEM
Yeah,
and youth.
yeah. I have had this discussion with many people recently. Every time that we implement like a project related with these new topics, like fancy topics like AI or like supply chain security, cyber security, and I don't know, drones and all of this. So everyone is super hype about the technology. And then we realize that the discussion goes around and who is going to work on it, or what is the workforce that is going to work with this technology, and what are they prepared, are they going to understand, etc. So I think the future is very promising in terms of nuclear security is expanding, and there is I guess there is it's a very promising career for many professionals, just not from one background, but from many backgrounds. I come from the from anthropology, so social sciences, and I find it very promising for other professionals. But I do believe that really the sector needs to address this problem of workforce development and workforce attraction now. Because as you see, I don't know, you go to other, these big tech companies, and they are getting the best talent. And since we are dealing with nuclear and radioactive material, it's a very sensitive, it's a very sensitive subject. So I do believe that the sector should be really getting serious about attracting the best talent and the best professionals to the sector. So it's promising, but it has to be taken serious now.
What about youth and women for in terms of the future of nuclear security? Because I'm assuming the current generation is a much older generation.
Yes, and because the reactors that were built in the past, all of this workforce is retiring now. And the problem is that there was a big gap, and now there is this nuclear renaissance. Yeah. And there is the problem is that since the employees are retiring, there is not a possibility to have a knowledge transfer. So this is a big, big problem right now. And regarding youth and women, we are missing half of the population to attract to the sector. And of course, the sector is very conservative, and then it's designed already in a way that it does not allow certain minorities to grow within. So I think organizations have to have, and there are some organizations doing really good efforts to attract, but also to retain that talent. Because I guess this is the biggest problem right now, probably the retention of the talent. Because 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I remember that all organizations were crazy about we need to attract more people, we need to attract more women, we need to attract more youth. But then what happened afterwards? They open up internships, but they never work on retention mechanism. They never work in organizational culture, making like really safe space for women to work. So I do believe that there is a lot of work still to do, especially on the retention mechanism and organizational culture within the organizations of the nuclear sector to make this sector a bit more open and a bit more like let's say a future kind of oriented with the pace that we go now in society.
Thank you, Diana, for that. Any more questions from the audience? Izako? Going once, going twice. Yeah, I think maybe we don't have any more questions from the audience. I'm not sure if Izako is. We lost Izako. Or, oh, he's here. Okay.
Yes, yes. Yeah, thanks so much. Is the network is the first question. So, this is a handle of six on the scope of nuclear for the last of the this looks of the can be or out the country. I'm sure disadvantage directly or indirectly and workplace or answer for everyone the work streets number of country or island how we ensure that this material will be released
Vivian, are you able to hear Ezekiel?
the blog.
Yeah, I think Ezekiel, we are not getting a single word that you're saying. Sorry. I think maybe if you could switch off your video, then just talk from audio. Maybe it can save a bit of bandwidth.
Okay, so
Yeah,
is it better now?
Yeah, that's better now. Yeah.
All right. So in one of your slides that is on scope of nuclear security, especially on transport of nuclear materials. So my question is, look at transport of nuclear materials into country or out of a country. Now, how do we ensure that these materials that we send out of a country or bring into a country do not get to an authorized person to acquire or develop nuclear weapons? Thank you.
So your question, Ezekiel, is how we ensure or how we secure the material when it cross borders from, let's say, country A through country B to country C.
Yes, in that saying that as the get to an alright,
I think switch off your video,
Yeah.
Ezekiel.
I don't, yeah, no, I don't get it because it's, yeah, basically what important is that the let's say the country through the material is passing on also is part of the convention. So yeah, because basically the state is responsible of that material while it is in transit. So it's very important that the material that the country also have signed the convention. Then of course is legally binding of securing that material, and of course then the country has to follow IAEA regulations of the transporting of nuclear material. So depending of the category of the material has to have certain physical protection measures. Of course, the response forces have to be involved. There should be a transport plan, etc. So this is how the states ensure that there is prevention of any attempt to take that material for malicious uses. I hope this answered your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any more from the audience? I think maybe last but not least, oh, okay, no, sorry, we have one question from the chat from Muhammad, who says, "Thank you for your comprehensive presentation. How does the security approach differ between nuclear material and radioactive sources used in medicine and industry?"
Same depending of the category, we call it a graded approach. So category 1 material, fuel, it's of course category 1 and require more physical protection systems to put in place, and as well as category 1 sources like cobalt 60 require of course more physical protection security than category 3 or 4. So this is how in nuclear security we see the approach.
I hope that answered your question, Mohammed, and thank you for that. I think maybe before we wrap it up, I have one critical question in terms of, we talk a lot about action, and because we can talk, have webinars and etc. But what are the actions that Viviana, you should think we should from here, as youth, as women, as professionals, what are the next actions for us from here? Because we I think that's what we need to focus on our actions instead of more talkings and more talkings. Yeah.
Well, actions. That's the most difficult question. No, I think you're in a great path. I hope there is more Africa initiatives around the world, because you are the middle point between high-level policy experts, international organizations, and the people. So I think that really translating very complex, sometimes concepts into plain language and explain to the people, I think is your key action for now. And this space, this platform that you are creating to discuss with the community are keen, because you are not just probably attracting this next generation, attracting women into the sector, but you are also creating public trust for a future development in the nuclear field for your country and for your region. So I do believe that that's a key message, and the key action you can further develop on.
Thanks a lot. That's really helpful. I'm sure the team is taking note of this.
Yes,
right,
I have a
yeah.
question. Yeah, so what's the roadmap for students who are interested in the nuclear field? What's the roadmap for them?
For the young professionals from the young generation, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, get informed. Get informed. Get in touch with the person already working in the sector, because they can really give you good advice how to start. So I have seen the power of mentoring. Come with good questions also to this mentor. Find opportunities to study, to get involved into the networks with Wem'Afrika, with Win Security, with Wins, and so I guess that's the path.
Is that okay, Ezekiel?
Yes, thank you very much for the response. Yeah, so I have this question. What are the opportunities for youth engaged in?
I hear what are the opportunities to engage, but I didn't hear anything else. Did you hear, Dominique? What was
No, I think he was cut short. We lost you there, Ezekiel.
Yes, hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so I'm asking about opportunities for NGOs who are engaged in the nuclear field, and also grant opportunities for them.
I think, well, this is a difficult question for me, since I'm also from from an NGO. I am not aware. I mean, there are always grants here and there, especially for regions. I have heard, but this is just out of my scope of of work at the moment. But I will advise always, looking at the IAA, they always have work in different areas, in different regions. Yeah, there are some organizations supporting NGOs and initiatives and so on. I'm sorry, I
All
cannot
right,
give
thank you.
more more ideas at the moment, but it doesn't pop in my mind now. But I'm sure there are some funding opportunities out there.
Nice. Yeah. One other question I got from the side was, does WINS have a trustworthiness program, and is trustworthiness and nuclear culture the same?
No, we do have an insider threat program. Of course, it's an education program. So we have a BPG, and we organize multiple workshops. There is one coming up on March, I think it's next week, and you can join online. Let me see. Just need to check exactly the date so I don't tell you something wrong. Yes, so it's exactly March 4 and 5, and it's online. So yes, just stay connected with WINS. We have different events and different resources. And then if you become a member of WINS, you can access the whole knowledge center when we have the BPG series, and one of them cover insider threat mitigation, which of course is related to the topic you have just mentioned.
Thank you. I got the question from Pauline, so hopefully that answered you, Pauline. All right. Any more questions from the audience? Okay. All right. I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Isako.
I will have one question. Yeah, so in one of the statements, you said sometimes the intention is to steal something, but to sabotage. What constitutes sabotage?
We didn't get the question, Isako.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right. So in one of your statements, you said action. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we got the question. Sorry.
You didn't get a question.
No, sorry. You can post it in the chat if it's because we keep losing you every time you say the question.
Right.
But maybe we can try.
Is
We
it
can
better
hear you
now?
now. Yeah, we can hear you. We can
Yeah. So in one of your statements, you said sometimes the intention is not to steal something, but to sabotage. So I'm asking, what are some actions that constitute sabotage?
There was an example of it. There was a power plant I won't say which one. And there was a person switching off one of the turbines that work with the cooling the water. I don't remember exactly which one. This is, for example, an act of sabotage. They're not stealing anything, but they are creating an interruption of the normal operation of a power plant, and they do it with a malicious intention. And this is, for example, an act of sabotage. So they didn't steal anything. They didn't they didn't steal material or a source, etc., to do anything, but they are creating or interrupting the normal operation, and it could, I don't know, it could be motivated with for any ideological, let's say, meaning. Could be, I don't know. There are so many people that oppose, for example, to nuclear power plants. So it could be a person with the intention of demonstrating that the power plant doesn't work correctly. So this constitutes sabotage.
Does this happen across industry? From your medicine to your power plants?
Yeah. There was but I cannot reveal the because there is some things that are shared under Chatham House rules. So I can share the example, but I cannot share them. Yeah, but this is, and it's also an example of insider. So it was a person who had access to certain areas of the power plant.
No, thank you a lot for answering the question. I think 11:45 now. Oh, at least where I am is 11:45, which is I think the meeting was set to finish at this time. Let's not take too much of your time, Vienna. We very much appreciate the time that you've taken to educate us, and we definitely looking to engage further in the future. And please, we will reach out. Hopefully you're not too busy to respond and the like. But thank you to the audience also for taking your time to join one of Wem'Afrika's webinars. We appreciate the time that you've taken. I think our next webinar will be March 28th, where we'll be looking at nuclear security versus nuclear safety versus safeguards. March 28th, as mentioned by Pauline, I think. So we look forward to seeing everybody again. I think, thank you a lot, Vienna. We appreciate the time that you've taken to be with us.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you so much, Ezequiel, and all the team from Wem'Afrika for the invitation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon. Thank you.